So David Frum and Joe Biden have gotten Americans so whipped into a frenzy over the future of Ukraine that they're flying to Ukraine to risk their lives in defense of that sacred nation's sovereignty. And there's the president of Ukraine saying, we're not that concerned. So what can we infer from this? Well, it's simple. If you're not terrified about the prospect of a Russian invasion of Ukraine, the question is, whose side are you on here? Whose side are you on? And we know the answer to that question. You're on Vladimir Putin's side. So it looks like the president of Ukraine himself has been compromised by Russian misinformation. The Ukrainian president is what we on cable news refer to as an agent of Putin. And that means the Russians are so diabolically effective, they have recruited the guy they're preparing war against. How clever is that? It would take a Slavic mind to pull that off. And by the way, yes, we are calling the president of Ukraine an agent of Putin, but we're not judging him. In fact, we can relate, we can empathize, because as you know, if you watch the media, we're agents of Putin too.
Fox's chief propagandist, Tucker Carlson, saying that the U.S. should be siding with Russia over Ukraine. What, you may say?
Members of Congress are actually getting phone calls encouraging them to side with Russia because they're watching right-wing media and people like Tucker Carlson.
It is striking how neatly Kremlin propaganda seems to dovetail with Carlson's talking points.
When Tucker Carlson delivers this message, it's dangerous.
Now, Tucker seems to have some sort of larger pattern here with tyrants who lean to the right.
But why is he so committed, and why is Fox News, on his behalf, so committed to tearing down American embrace and support and alignment with the world's democracies?
Tucker is utterly shameless. If he had any capacity to feel any shame, he should be embarrassed by what he just said, because he is basically repeating rank Russian propaganda.
Mr. Max Boot, ladies and gentlemen, in his final domestic television appearance before he heads to Ukraine to defend that nation himself, its territorial integrity from the aggression of Vladimir Putin. Watch him while you can. But let's be clear about what the terms are. In the United States, and this does not apply to Ukraine, where they have probably a more sane view of it, or maybe just more Russian influence view of it, but in the United States, if you raise any questions about the wisdom of siding in a war in Eastern Europe with one country over another, you are, by definition, an agent of the single greatest threat to democracy on this globe, Mr. Vladimir Putin himself. You're treasonous. Congressman Tom Malinowski of New Jersey is claiming that viewers of this show, Russian Robots to a Man, reached out to his office and did something horrifying, something that probably should be illegal. They said maybe we shouldn't go to war over Ukraine.
Can you just tell us about these phone calls that your office is getting?
Yeah, sure. It really started yesterday. I was in my district office in New Jersey, and phones were ringing, and my district director came to me and said, I just spent an hour on the phone with like 4 people telling me that they'd watched Tucker Carlson last night, and why are we going to be going to war for Ukraine? Russia's making reasonable proposals for peace, and we should just do what Russia wants.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people have said Tom Malinowski, is not the sharpest knife in the drawer, right? Even by the standards of New Jersey. However, he makes a really good point. There are people out there who look around and decide maybe, I don't know, homelessness, close to 1 million people living on the street in the United States, 100,000 Americans dying of drug ODs, inflation, the fact our schools haven't taught anything in over 2 years. Maybe these are more important concerns than the territorial integrity of a country we can't find on a map. Maybe our own territorial integrity is more important than Ukraine's. And the question, as Congressman Malinowski raises, is why would they ever think that? Where would they get the idea that their stupid parochial domestic concerns are more important than Ukraine's eastern border? And the answer, of course, is Vladimir Putin. They've obviously fallen for the Russian propaganda. That would be us, doing Vladimir Putin's bidding. Like the president of Ukraine, we're guilty.